the part of the puzzle game space that I would identify as belonging to the traditional puzzle game has slowly been disappearing over the last decade or so. You still get the occasional Tetris game, but the vast majority of the market now belongs to the eternally dominant free-to-play puzzler, which most often I would actually categorize as part of the traditional puzzler genre, at least if they weren't so chock full of and reliant on their microtransactions. And so, if you're looking for a new puzzler that isn't either a puzzle platformer or a puzzle shooter or some sort of puzzle game implemented into another genre, you pretty much have two places to look. The indie space, which is constantly pumping out new games, or the past, which probably has a lot of games you've either missed or forgotten. And this week I'm looking at Mr. Driller, one of the puzzle games that has not only gone overlooked in the past, but is mostly forgotten now, and mysteriously absent from all the top 10 puzzle game of all time lists. So what is Mr. Driller? The game's core mechanic involves you drilling down through the arranged puzzle blocks. If there are any blocks of an identical color attached to the one you're drilling through, they will all disappear, and any blocks above the disappearing blocks that those blocks were supporting will fall down. It creates an incredibly frantic pace for the game, especially as you get deeper and deeper into the puzzle. Not only are you trying to clear blocks as quickly as you can before the timer, represented by an oxygen gauge, runs out, but you're also trying to be sure that as you make your way deeper and deeper, you don't accidentally kill yourself with blocks that are falling from above you. The game those elements come together to create is a perfect example of what I love about traditional puzzle games the most, when they force you to not only move quickly or think quickly, but to do both. At first, you really suck at it. You die far more often than you make progress, but as you play more and more, you get better at making the split-second decisions that you need to make. But, as far as I'm concerned, the best decision that Mr. Driller makes is to put you, the player, physically into the puzzle. By placing you in the game space itself, it adds a lot more consequence to your actions than the vast majority of puzzle games do. You're no longer just trying to make matches as fast as you can, though that can be tempting, especially during certain segments, but it is in your interest to balance how carefully and how quickly you can reach the goal, because if you don't, you're going to get crushed. There have been many different versions of Mr. Driller over the years, and while the vast majority, if not all of them, have the traditional mode, there's a sort of purity of vision to the PS1 version that isn't present in the newer versions. So I would definitely recommend at least playing the PS1 version first if you can, and then moving on to the more convenient iterations that were eventually released for portable platforms like the DS. But I do recommend playing some version of Mr. Driller if you've never had the chance before. It represents a kind of puzzle game that is increasingly hard to find, and I think is one of the best puzzle games ever made. And you owe it to yourself to play it if you love the genre. In my retro reviews, I take a look at games that were released at least 10 years ago, what I would consider to be retro, and I see if those games have held up today, if they're still worth playing now. If you like that idea, be sure to subscribe so you can see the latest videos. If you like this video in particular, be sure to hit that like button, and thanks for watching.